Well, what's up, everyone? Happy Saturday afternoon. I hope you are having a great day so far and a great start to your weekend. My name is Don Terrell, and I want to welcome you to another great episode of The Color of Motion, where I like to say stories come in all shades. And I highlight people of color in diverse backgrounds in the industry of motion graphics, animation, visual effects, cartoons, and comics. This space that I love so much. You know the drill. Jump on. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Say hello so I can give you a good shout out for sure. But again, I want to welcome you to the show. Like I said, we broadcast live. You can check us out on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Uh, Again, we just started our Facebook group, so make sure that if you are one of those ones that loves to tune in from Facebook, you have to check it out from our new group. Facebook.com/groups/the color of motions. You can catch us live there. And jump on in, get connected because we're having some great conversation, sharing a lot of industry news, and it's starting to grow. So I definitely want to make sure that you're plugged in there for sure. Like I said, you can check us out on LinkedIn at Don Terrell for sure. But I do always like to share my other social channels where you can connect with me as well. Always get that one. Getting better at these. Check me out, follow, connect with me on all my social channels. You can find me. I definitely want to hear from you. Let me know how the show is going, what I can do to level it up. Always working to make it a better experience for you. And definitely want you to get engaged and be a part of the show. Again, if you are one of those ones that loves to check out the show from LinkedIn or Facebook, I do always highly encourage people to jump on over to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Don Terrell. Give a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you are notified of when new episodes become available and new content comes on the channel, because there's going to be a lot of great content coming. We've got a lot of big things planned for the show. I'm continually telling you, we are going to be rolling out some swag items for the guests and for the viewers as well. We got our comment here. Mr. Randall, appreciate you tuning in. Hey, Don, from Orlando, Florida. Lovely Orlando. I like Orlando. Orlando's a great city for sure. So appreciate you tuning in to the show. Checking us out from LinkedIn. I like that. We get a lot of LinkedIn viewers, so I appreciate that. Again, like I said, got a lot of great things planned. We're really starting to kick off the Instagram page as well. Connect with me over there. Color of Motion. You can find us on the Instagram. That's the show Instagram. Or you can find my personal Instagram at Don Terrell. So I always appreciate that for sure. I hope you guys are as excited about this episode as I have been excited about it. Just so looking forward to sitting down with my next guest, Miss Salve. Former guest, looking forward to having you back on the show. Hope all is going well. Tuned in, I appreciate that for sure. YouTube viewer, I like that. Getting more views from YouTube, so I appreciate that for sure. Like I said, my goal is to always try and bring that wow factor to the show. try my best to make it as engaging for all my viewers and as fun for all my viewers as it is for me to do the show. I so enjoy being here each and every week, bringing you a great episode. And I hope you find value in it and have fun along the way. So, with that, like I said, I hope that you guys are ready for a great episode. So excited to be sitting down with my next guest here, and let's dive into it. She's a visual development artist originally from Portland, Oregon, but currently based in Los Angeles, California, after her 2020 graduation from Academy of Art University. She grew up with a passion for animation that stemmed from old Disney films and Hanna-Barbera cartoons like Johnny Quest. Wow, I love Johnny Quest, but we're going to dive into that. I haven't met too many women that like Johnny Quest. And the Jetsons, another big favorite, that inspired her in her own style of adventure and humor while designing. Seeing the joy these characters and stories brought her for so much of her life, she really wants to be a part of a team doing the same for someone else. Please, everybody, help me welcome my very special guest and friend, Miss Elissa Gonzales. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello.
So excited to have you on the show, Miss Elizabeth.
I'm excited to be here.
Hey.
Thank you.
Another female guest that was on, Miss Elizabeth, says hello. Appreciate that. But been super looking forward to having you on the show. Like I said, I was fortunate and blessed enough to connect with you a little while ago. And like you said, we were talking a little beforehand. It was just such an easy conversation, and you were so fun that I knew I had to get you on the show, because when I have guests like you, it just makes the show so much more fun and so much more easy.
Oh, thank you. I'll try to bring what I can to the stage, or whatever you expect.
So, I mean, tell me, like you said, you love Johnny Quest and the Jetsons growing up. Was that kind of odd for you? I mean, other people seeing that you were just really into like cartoons and comics?
I mean, a little bit. So I didn't have cable growing up, so I really was just kind of that kid sitting on PBS watching, like Arthur and the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
So I think that while I've noticed in school, there's a lot of times where I don't know what shows people are talking about because I never saw them. There's actually a lot of opportunity too, where a lot of the older classics that could be put out on DVD for my mom to buy me was kind of where all of that came to light, where I remember not really wanting to watch Johnny Quest initially. My mom was like, just watch it. You're going to like it. And I did. It was a great time. And I think that really was part of the kind of sense of adventure that I've started to really enjoy within animation.
Yeah.
And even the Jetsons, I mean, it's kind of, I remember just really getting into all of the pretty colors and the sounds of the little spaceship cars that they have, the little...
Yeah. She's trying to be a sound effects Foley artist, because she did that really well.
Thank you. That was the first time I've ever done it. So that was a hope for the best situation. But yeah, just... I think DVDs and old 50s shows was kind of how that came to light. Like, I was even watching Leave It to Beaver, which is...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of just everything there.
Got you. So when did you start kind of diving into the art of it? I mean, did you pick up drawing and things like that early on, or was that kind of later on?
Yeah, no, I've definitely, from what I've been told, I don't remember, but I was trying to hold a pencil like even correctly. Apparently, I was trying to like learn how to hold it the right way instead of just being like, ah, you know. Uh, that like from the start, I was interested in drawing, and it was a lot of the classic blobs and scribbles everywhere. But and then from there is a lot of just watching Disney movies at like 2 p.m. with a bowl of Cheetos, you know? So it was, and I think that's really how it started. I'm not sure exactly what the fascination itself was. I think that was a very internal thing of I want to figure out how to hold this Crayola purple pen and do something with it. Um, and it just kind of took off from there. My parents are both in art, so they do
Oh, okay.
okay, let's let her do her thing, whatever. But then also do little like drawing games and the like with me too.
Yeah, yeah. So, do you obviously, and that was kind of leading into my other question as far as like how did your parents kind of foster your talent and stuff? Do you feel like that really helped you? The fact that they were in the arts that really gave you the creative freedom to kind of just really explore and learn?
Yeah, I think so. I think, I mean, I've definitely heard a lot of horror stories about the parents that don't understand art. I know it's, and I've definitely encountered people that don't understand what I'm doing and they don't care to. And you know what? That's fine. You can sit over there. But like, I think that's where I got really lucky in terms of they both definitely they come more from architecture backgrounds.
Mm.
So I got a lot of the, oh, are you gonna be an architect too? And I was like, no,
No.
but they understood that like designing and could appreciate animation. They like to watch the movies with me too, where yeah, do all kinds of little drawing games with my dad of just drawing line for line and creating little characters
Yeah.
together, kind of back and forth. So when ugh, I don't know what age I started to decide this is what I wanted to do, but there wasn't really any pushback. It was kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
let's figure that out.
Yeah.
And that's all it was.
Yeah.
So,
And it's interesting that you said that because not that that I think it's a great thing when parents really are an integral part in your kind of creative development. Um, like I said, not that my mom, I grew up. My mom, she saw I had talent, but she couldn't quite translate how that would make a living, you know,
that's
doing
always the
that. And
thing of,
so, I mean, it wasn't like she hindered it, but she couldn't figure, she wasn't one of those ones that, I've talked to some guests and their parents took them to comic book stores and, really was an integral part, which, my mom wasn't, but she understood and saw that I had a great talent for art and design and creative stuff. So she
that's
didn't
awesome.
hinder it. Um, uh, and did you, like I said, moving into when you did kind of figure out that, okay, this was kind of something I wanted to do, what made you, because you went to, well, let's back up. What made you decide to go to Academy of, Art University, and what was your experience like going through that?
So with Academy of Art, I mean, I did a lot of, it's kind of a whirlwind. I'll be straight up. It was a little bit of a whirlwind. I was in Germany for 9 months, and it wasn't, I was noticing there that people weren't really understanding animation and
Hmm.
art.
Yeah.
Of just, I mean, there's a lot of art, like beautiful museum stuff like that, but animation and that it can be for any age group really is just, it's a little bit of a cultural difference that I was seeing. And so that's where I started to look more into schools that were based back in the US. And honestly, my big draw with the Academy was that it was close to Pixar. Yeah, yeah. So, and I saw a lot about how it was a very like open campus. There's a lot of great networking opportunities, essentially.
Yeah.
And that I kind of went off of very little information now that I think about it. Where I was just kind of like, this seems cool. I did a lot of researching, but I always came back to the academy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when I say research, it's still a little surface level. Or my dad was like, "Oh, you got into the school. We should probably go check it out." So we kind of did a quick, spontaneous trip down to the Bay and got a tour, which kind of solidified, like, okay,
Yeah.
wasn't the worst spontaneous decision ever. But yeah, it ended up being a great experience for me personally. It was, I think, what I needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it worked.
Which is the best thing. The best thing. Miss Salve says, "Parents supporting your dreams is such a gift. It is. I think it is. Um,
Agreed.
you know, most of the people that I've talked to, like I said, they either fall into one or two camps. Their parents, understood, and like mine, saw that they had a gift, but didn't quite. I think you might need a little fallback,
Yeah, yeah.
profession to kind of fall back into that type of thing. And then you got the other ones that, like I said, really they're artistic themselves, so they get it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
for
It's
sure.
support is there regardless, even in either
Yeah,
of those situations. I've definitely had those people where, like, just friends where I'm like, I can't relate, I don't know, but I believe in you.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we're
yeah,
gonna support. I know that doesn't happen all the time for artists, and I'm glad to see people still powering through it, but it's also there's a level of thanks for when it is working out like that.
yeah, for sure. I'll throw Miss Elizabeth's question up there. I'll let you go ahead and read that.
Yeah, so it says, what brought you to Germany specifically? With that one, that was high school, and I was hanging out with a lot of exchange students at that time, and I was seeing really what they were going through. That's a lot of difficult emotions and perspectives that you have to face, let alone homesickness, because you're in this place where a lot of people really aren't understanding you,
Yeah,
and no one means any harm by that. It's just, cultural language
yeah,
difference. It's a lot.
yeah,
And I felt like I needed something like that. In just all honesty, I wasn't. I knew at that point in high school that I did want to go into animation, but I didn't know how to get there. My school was very just like math and science oriented, so I was kind of like still a little semi on my own.
yeah.
Um, and I just didn't feel ready for college in general. So I was like, I need to put myself in a situation where I'm going to struggle, and I did. I did, but it was still a great experience. I mean, struggle in the best way. That I was really forced to deal with a lot of perspectives and emotions that I'd never really
Yeah, yeah,
had to face before. I mean, I think there's value in being uncomfortable,
yeah,
and it 9 months of various versions of that,
for
and but
sure.
also a lot of great moments where I was like, this is a really cool thing I'm doing here. So
Yeah, yeah. So, what do you think? I mean, what if you had to pick one thing that it really kind of showed about you as a person, or that you learned about yourself? What do you think that was, or what would you say that was? Because I think everybody should have that perspective of spending some time outside of their country, because it gives them a perspective that they wouldn't ordinarily get.
definitely. Ooh, I would say for me personally, um, it showed me that I could. How do I put this into words? I'm capable of more than I thought. Where as someone who I mean, is slowly coming out of it in high school, but it was still a thing in high school, was definitely more quiet,
Yeah,
shy, reserved, did not want to step forward. That's for sure. And so, I mean, to be put in that situation where I was like kind of forced to do some of that and meet lots of people and
yeah,
speak, even if you can't really understand everything. Um, I think that really showed me of like, oh, you are capable of doing way more than you think you are. And so, I mean, I think I still work on that in general. I definitely sometimes will notice I'll just kind of kick myself of like, you know what, just do it. Because kind of like for this, I was super nervous. So I just kicked myself to do it. And
Well,
I think
hopefully I dispelled a little bit of that. Like I said, you're doing great. Awesome for
thank you.
sure. Mr. Neil, always appreciate my fan, Mr. Neil, tuning in from Las Vegas. I appreciate that there, sir. Obviously, with that perspective, do you feel like it's benefited you in this animation journey that you're going on? And being able to, because obviously, just being in different studios and animation, you get a lot of people from a lot of different countries
Yes.
and perspectives. So, do you feel like that experience has really helped you in this journey?
I never connected them directly, but thinking about it now, I would say yes in kind of its abstract way. I mean, maybe it's not so art related. I do really wish I knew more about famous artists and the crazy paintings that everyone was creating, that I could actually understand that more in museums like the Louvre, because I went there too. So I really wish that like that had gone in a different order. But I think in terms of just the industry itself, I think it's helped me connect to people more. Of being able to just talk, and even if I can't relate to what someone's saying, I'll still find some kind of way to relate. And I think that's where, I mean, in Germany, in my class, one of my closest friends was someone who we both didn't speak much of the same language. We both knew just like bits of basic German, and she spoke French and I spoke English, but somehow we were still friends.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's like a very powerful sense of communication and friendship to me, of just being able to connect.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what has really helped me in terms of, in the industry, you have to just kind of put yourself out there shamelessly and talk to people.
Yeah.
And a lot of reaching out on the interwebs, wherever. But
Yeah.
I would say that's where it helped the most.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And I think, like I said, we're all humans, so we all feel the same things emotionally. Maybe we can't verbally connect, communicate
Yeah,
it, but
exactly.
on a deeper level, we all love to laugh, we all cry, we all have the same type of things. So I think that's what kind of helps us bridge that divide. Just outside of the verbal communication, we can still vibe and still, like you said, be friends for sure.
Yeah, and like universally, I mean, we can always read body language because, like you said, we are all human beings. So without those words, I mean, you can kind of read how a person is feeling just by watching them, which I mean actually can play into character design and everything like that, because you need to see those little nuanced gestures and stuff that makes someone
Yeah.
emote.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's something too, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So as you were kind of going down and getting into this journey, obviously there's so many different areas and forks in the road in this industry that you can go down. What
Yes.
made you settle on this as opposed to, say, sitting behind a computer and animating, or sitting behind, a computer and modeling, or whatever it might be? Like I said, there's so many different things in this industry that you can do.
Yeah. It was walking through downtown Disney. um, and I was looking in downtown Disney. There was the World at Disney, and it was on my right hand side. And there was a big, huge poster in the window, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just sketches of Chippendale. And you could still see all the structure lines and just all the like the energy within those lines. If it wasn't just a single like this is Chippendale,
Yeah.
it was Chippendale.
Yeah.
And it was seeing that. I remember that was the moment that I was like, I want to do that, whatever that is. And I didn't know at the time, but I was like, that's what I want to do. And to me, I actually, signing up for the academy, I originally was an animation major, and I talked to the counselor, and they were like, you're in the wrong major. You want to be in biz dev. And I was like, and so, I mean, they changed that for me real quick, and it was seamless, essentially. But for me, you get so much energy just problem solving with a pencil.
Yeah.
I can't personally feel that as much with a computer. And problem solving each thing out with clicks, it doesn't resonate for me. I have more respect for anyone who
It's a
can.
required thing.
Yeah, and
Sure.
just like you're so in this world of UI, which I
Yeah.
would rather be on this piece of paper where it just seems a lot more limitless to me, literally just because there's no UI on it. That's
Yeah.
that's all
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. No,
But
I
yeah,
agree. I agree. And we're gonna quickly take a look at some of Elisa's artwork. Like I said, such great drawings. And we're gonna dive into these a little more. Such a unique style, and obviously you have a flair for character design and nuance. I also noticed in a lot of them, you do a lot of prop designs as well.
I love props. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
newer thing. That's
yeah,
that's not a that's been in the making with the Academy actually, that I've enjoyed that more.
yeah. Such a beautiful style, and like I said, your character work is. I love the character work as well. But
Thank you.
that was just another thing. I was like, yeah, she does a lot of prop designs as well, which you'll see in towards the later ones there.
I'm
But
glad you noticed. That's one of the things I'm trying to break into with the industry. But I love doing props. So
yeah, and that it was interesting because I was watching kind of it was a filmmaking little documentary or short, but they were interviewing just somebody about the little items on the desk, the little pictures on the wall, just the background things that most people don't think about in a scene, but there's somebody that's gotta put it together and
someone
draw.
designed that.
Yeah, someone
Yes.
designs it and someone draws it. So I mean, most like I said, most people don't necessarily think about the mug on the table or the little device that a character is holding, those type of things. But somebody does it, and it's kind of like I said, art
Yeah.
in and of itself.
No, I definitely agree. I'm one of those people where I actually kind of struggle to watch the movie for what's happening in front of me because I'm looking at the background. I'm looking at that stuff that no one cares about, essentially. But like, I have to see that little box that they placed that has a little like cat on it or something. Someone had to think about that, place it there, whether it's live action or animation, design it.
Yeah.
So there's been many times where I've been like, "Oh, did you see what just happened?" And I'm like, no. I realized I've stopped thinking about the dialogue. I've stopped looking at everything. I'm just looking at the background stuff, and it's a semi-terrible habit at this point. But also, I mean, it's not the worst. I am looking
Yeah.
at things.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, do you find is that your lane of what, like you say, you love that, and then do you balance that with characters stuff that you like creating characters, but also like creating the little things like you said that no one kind of tends to really think about when they're watching a animation?
um, I mean, do you mean just like in personal work or
No,
within?
well, I mean, for professional work, is that? I mean, do you like it? Obviously, you love it all, but do you find like a kind of a affinity for getting more lost in the little nuanced things and little, like you said, things that people don't necessarily think about? They're more focused on the main character, or do you enjoy kind of digging into character design?
I mean, for me, they kind of go hand in hand. Was because I mean, I started school. Characters were just what I knew. That
Mm-hmm.
was all I drew my entire life. I never drew props. I never drew really anything else. It was just like, look at this funny person. And so with the academy and being forced to, try different things as you should in school,
Yeah.
I was really realizing how much a prop is part of the character.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it really just started to come together in the terms of I was really enjoying it. I mean, I'm still working on feeling that more with backgrounds and stuff, where that is coming more to light, but it's one that I'm more apprehensive. But like props, I feel are pretty limitless
Yeah.
in just how my brain works. Of it's a little object and it can be huge, it can be tiny, and it can scale anything really in terms of the size to the character. So just having them come together is really kind of like a sense of satisfaction to me of like
Yeah.
this is a character, but it goes with those YouTube videos that's like what's in my bag, you know, and you're supposed to know so much about the person with what they carry around in their bag. It's to me there's so much to know about a character and just of what they find valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, it all plays into the character as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the type of hat they wear or the type of yo-yo that's in their pocket, all those little
Yeah,
things,
it says a lot.
it says a lot about a character and who they are and what they are. Um, what's to this point, what do you feel has been the best piece of advice that's kind of served you coming along so far that somebody's given to you that kind of sticks with you? And it could be personally or professionally. Like professionally, what's been I'll make it easy. Professionally, what's been the best piece of advice that say, somebody you worked with has given you that's really served you?
I would say the power of taking a break. I mean, it sounds very just vague, but I'm definitely, I think like many artists, I'm one to just try it and just keep burning through something. If it's not working, I'm like, if I just try for 10 more minutes, and then 5 hours later you're still like, I know I can do this, and you're kind of just going crazy in your mind. And I think most artists are very prone to that. And the thing is, it's very stressed in a lot of art school scenarios of you need to be drawing 24/7. You need to be
Really?
drawing. And there is value to that. There is truth to that. Like the other weekend, we went to the mall and we're just drawing people for like
Yeah.
2 hours. It was
Yeah.
great. But I think what needs to also be stressed a little bit more too is the power of taking a break.
Yeah.
And like if you feel like you need to stop, just stop.
Yeah.
Just go to bed. Just sometimes you feel like you will get it, but a lot of times you're not gonna. If you're exhausted, it's 5 a.m. and you need to just step away.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of times where I'm like, this looks magnificent. This is my masterpiece. And then I come back to it 5 hours later and it's not a masterpiece at all. So there's a lot of power to stepping away.
Yeah.
And yeah, go look outside. Go, I don't know, just experience things and people. For me, that's what has been the best. And I needed that encouragement from some professionals that I've known to just do things like that and not feel bad about it, not feel guilty that, I should be going and drawing all of these cat models, or I keep bringing up cats today, I don't know why, but just things like that of releasing that guilt and appreciating the break and knowing that like I will go back to this in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that's great. So
and if you guys didn't catch that, that was a nugget there. Because I get like that myself. You feel like if you're not sitting down in front of the computer, you're just not being productive. And really, other stuff, having outside, and I guess as you get into it and as you get down the path, every artist will tell you this, having outside things that you're doing and breaks really does give you a much clearer perspective when you do finally come back to sit down to continue working on your thing. You're going to get a different, fresher perspective on it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, because if you go outside, you find yourself starting to look at, like, look how blue those shadows are. And you get really interested in that. Or, I mean, you see that one person, you're like, I gotta draw you. Every time I'm out, I see someone, with that crop top and that fanny pack and the boat hat, whatever it is, it'll come together with some wild combination that I'm like, you're drawable, you're great. And it's a good compliment. They'll never know, but
for sure. Mr. Alicio, gotta say hey to you, man. I appreciate you, brother, for tuning in. Learned a lot from you this week in the summit. that I attended. So I appreciate you tuning in for sure. My man, Mr. Joshua. Uh,
Josh, what's up?
yes, super talented brother there, man. Looking
We've had a
forward.
lot of classes together.
Oh
A lot
man,
of art endeavors.
Mr. Josh is Alicia, a living legend. So I'm so blessed to have her on. Plus you,
From the
so I
legends
can't beat it. Such a great style. Like I said, I love Joshua's and drawing
Oh
style.
gosh, yeah.
Just super, super talented. So,
Yes.
you got to come back on, brother, soon for sure. Um, what like I said, when you went to the academy, did you see, like, were there a lot of women in the program with you, or I mean, what were your thoughts as far as a lot of females getting into the industry?
You know, I do feel like in the classes there are a lot of women. I mean, you see in the industry where a lot of the teams still, I mean, it is definitely changing.
Yeah,
That is for sure. I feel trusting in saying
yeah,
that. But you do see where it's still a lot of like more male based, but in the classes there are definitely a lot of trying to think of how many. There's a lot of females out there doing badass designs all through class.
yeah,
Um, and For me, I see a lot of my friends, because how I started at the academy, I felt like it was more male based in class, and so right off the bat, it was more of my friends within visual development were all males, really, and I hadn't really thought about it. I didn't even really see it.
yeah,
I just they were my friends. I didn't really see the gender within it.
yeah,
When I was forced to think about it, I was like, oh yeah, most of my friends are guys. But then over time, as we got through a lot of visual development classes, there were a lot more females that were present in the classes. Where I think I looked it up on women in animation, and I think it's a lot like 60% of art schools now are females.
yeah,
I would look it up, but it's somewhere around this spectrum, and then it's still about 20% are in the industry
yeah,
jobs.
yeah,
So it's definitely a shift where I know, like from what I've heard firsthand, that a lot of the studios that used to be a little bit of a frat party are definitely making those shifts where we have a lot of amazing female directors and
yeah,
designers coming
yeah,
forward.
yeah.
So it's definitely shifting.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think it's the tide is definitely changing in a lot of areas when it comes to diversity and like I said, different look to the industry now. What has been? I mean, like I said, there's been a lot of changes since Johnny Quest in the Jetsons days. What have been some of the ones recently, animation wise, that you kind of really kind of clicked with or really liked and
Ooh.
enjoyed?
Um, so what I think has been really cool lately is I've been seeing a lot more mixed media.
Yeah.
Where it definitely started with Spider Verse, but for me, where I felt it
Yeah.
the most was in Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Oh, I love
Like
that. I love that. I just watched that last night.
yes, it's so good. Just in how they were doing, like it was still 3D animation for sure,
Yeah,
but there's a
yeah.
lot of these doodles and stuff coming everywhere. Humor phenomenal.
Oh man, yes, yes.
And, but just to see that kind of more comic aspect, words, the comics kind of coming into, you know, what 3D animation
Yeah,
had already like formed as a foundation, which was a huge process to get through. But
yeah,
I think we're at the time where it's like, okay, but now what can we do?
yeah,
So I think that's kind of one of the coolest things that I've been seeing and excited about is just that combination.
yeah,
Oof,
yeah.
it's more to look at, you know?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, there's so many, and that's the beauty of, I think, a lot of new creatives coming up because they're coming up with these interesting ways of mixing medias and really telling stories. Guys, if you have Netflix, check out Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Yes.
Very, very funny.
Please do.
Very, very funny animation for sure. But I, like you said, with even into the Spider Verse, and I've seen a lot of like up and coming kind of martial arts mixtures of 2D, 3D type animations, starting to
Yes.
mix together that really makes for a compelling visual.
Yeah, and they're starting to do a lot of callbacks too. Where I mean, Mitchell's and Spider Verse, those are both Sony, but we were watching Vivo recently,
Mm,
um, and they were even keying into just in like with Visions, they were keying into more like Mary Blair, that classical like graphics and everything. So,
yeah,
and that's where I think what's cool is even in that mixed media, you're now seeing um, kind of more of those classics that really were the foundation of animation back
yeah,
in
yeah,
the Disney days.
yeah.
And even in Raya and the Last Dragon, I just saw that
Oh
one.
yeah, yeah.
Like I think
Another.
last
Well, she's rattling off some really.
yeah, I'm nerding
I
out.
gotta
I'm
give a
nerding
bullhorn. She's
But I
rattling
know
off.
they even had hints of it too with just the graphics. I was
Yes,
like, okay, a
yes,
lot of people are doing this. This
yes,
is pretty great.
yes, yes, for sure. I mean, so many, like I said, just so many great animations coming out now. And actually, like I said, my guest a couple of weeks ago, Mr. Everett Downey, another great director. They just released a trailer from a film he worked on, uh, Maya and the Three, that are coming out. Such
I'm so excited
another
to see
one.
this.
So just
Oh, the
amazing
design.
work coming out now with. And that's what I love about this time. So, what do you? I mean, are you like me? Do you feel like this is a great time for content creators?
Yes, I definitely do. I think people are ready to start seeing more. Um, where I mean, you can see the stages of animation where they were still trying to just they're like, this is cool, but we're figuring it out. I mean, like Shrek, they're still
Yeah.
while I love Shrek, they're very in proportion and somewhat uncomfortable to look at sometimes. And that's just part of the design process of how we've come a lot further of being like
Yeah.
what works within the world of animation and what can be a little jarring.
Yeah.
Where we've definitely, I think, there's been a consistent style that we've seen in a lot of animation, and so now I think a lot of studios are pushing that more. Of okay, we got comfortable.
Yeah.
Now let's figure out how to test something else, which I
Yeah.
really appreciate about a lot of studios of trying to always choosing something, always choosing a challenge, I guess,
Yeah.
of like
Yeah.
how to animate copious amounts of hair or fur
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
all of that, and you
Yeah.
see it build within each movie.
Yeah. And I always gave, like I said, I always gave Pixar credit for that. They always
That's one
tried
of my favorite things.
something and pushed the technology or, what they thought might be hard to do in the next one. They didn't let that stop them. Like with Monsters, it was hair and fur.
Yeah,
And
all of
so,
Sully's fur, and you see it like
yeah,
bounce with all of his
bouncing,
movements.
yeah,
So
just
satisfying.
just pushing it. But I love, like I said, kind of in that same vein, which is why I always give Netflix such a big kudos because they're really pushing the boundaries of the content that they're putting out and leading the way, I think, for a lot of other studios that now have to step up. Hey, people want to see these kind of things and kind of animations and stories.
Yeah, what I think is great with Netflix is that I feel like they're showing people that animation does not have to just be for kids. I have come across that stigma too many times. It makes me crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
But like they're really showing that you can do things in all kinds of
oh
styles,
yeah, yeah.
especially with like Robert Valley's.
And I
Like
don't know if you've
done
seen Re-Sleeved.
re-sleeved.
Carbon is Carbon. It's on Netflix, and I watch it constantly because I love it. And they did a live version of it on. They have like a live version of it on Netflix, but I was more talking the animation Re-Sleeved. And it's
I'll
about
have to look that up.
yeah, it's really, really, and that's a great example of like a really good style of it because it's got the thick outline drawings of the characters, still 2D but mixed with slight 3D. You really should check it out, and I'm going to put it in the show notes as well.
Cool.
Um,
Okay. Yeah, I
but
definitely would want to see that.
really good. Let's throw some comments in here. Mr. Robert Paul, 2D and 3D is becoming one. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
and
I
really,
agree.
I think it just comes down to because I've seen, and I've mentioned this on some other episodes. I've seen very slick, just pencil sketch animations that were just so beautifully done. So I think it's more just it's not 2D, it's 3D. It's what the story tells that really matters in whatever medium it's done. By Ryan Woodard, Think of You. Look that up. You'll it's it's done. It's just a 2D sketch drawing done to two dancers dancing to this song, and it's so beautifully done. Ryan Woodard, and actually he was a Disney animator. So
Oh, because yeah, there's one called The Duet too, and it's by Glenn Keane. I mean, it could be,
yeah,
but you see, like they brought back traditional 2D animation for that, which like blew everyone's mind.
yeah,
Um,
it's called Thought of
Ryan Butter,
You.
that's easy to
Yeah,
remember.
Ryan Woodard. Google it or YouTube it. Ryan Woodard, Thought of You. So beautifully done 2D animation.
Oh,
And
I love seeing stuff like that.
yeah, and and it's got him behind the scenes, so it shows him
Yes.
doing it, and he must have said there was like over 200,000 drawings that he did, just just drawings, and so trying to, I always think it's such a great art, you know, one telling a story, then matching like really fluid movement with music. It's like I said, it's a skill that not very many people outside kind of appreciate. It's in the
I
inside
yeah,
when you really appreciate the work that goes into it.
I feel like timing is very underappreciated because it's so easy to overlook it when it all comes together.
Yeah.
That you just kind of you're like, oh, this is a great time. But the minute timing's off, you always know. So when something just hits like a certain little whatever sound, a beat, whichever, it really brings something together. Whether it's just a short little clip or it's a whole long segment, it enhances flow. I
Oh
guess is
man, just
yeah.
amazing, amazing. Uh, I think Robert put it in there. The link. Uh, Give a
Well, thank you.
shot. There it is, right there. Yeah, that's the link right there. And I wish I could click on it to bring it up. Um, I'm gonna have to work on that. I could share my screen, but I haven't really played with that. Otherwise, I would
It's
play it.
risky.
Yeah, it's risky. But I'm gonna put the link in. But really, that's the link. You really should check that out, Elisa, because it really is a beautifully done. Just
Oh, I would
to
love to.
the
Yeah.
simplicity of it, but the complexity of the movements is what really gets me, and how
Oh,
it just
that's right
works
up
with
my
the
alley,
song.
honestly.
Yeah.
So I am there.
So very, very. So where do you see kind of yourself going in the project? What would be like an ideal project for you to kind of just sink your teeth into? I mean, you're working on a lot of great stuff now. Soon to be released, yes. We're gonna, when it's released, we're gonna definitely let you know. But I mean, is kind of your ultimate goal maybe working on your own kind of little story or character, or do you enjoy like the situation where you're at now, working in a studio?
I mean, I'm definitely someone who I like being in a studio. I like being within a team of people. And for me, it doesn't, there's a sense of it being your own, but also not. It's hard to describe in the terms of, I think I really enjoy taking someone's idea and then
Hmm.
bringing it up to a design that I would hope that I would love to create a character someday that you see you just see everywhere. That'd be great. And it doesn't have to. That's the thing of like, for me, it doesn't need to be 1,000% from me. It can be off of a movie where it's a concept that became iconic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where I like to play off of other people's ideas and work in a team within that. I think there's kind of its own challenge of like, you're telling me this, but what if I show you this? That is really fulfilling to me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No,
definitely just something that people recognize and enjoy. But it doesn't have to be completely my own.
yeah, yeah. And like you said, it's nothing is ever really a solo project because it takes a team to put something together. I mean, even at the basic level of a single animator doing a short still works with a music person, still works with voice people.
True.
So
Yeah.
it's always a collaborative type of thing, which I think is always the best way to go.
Yeah, that's definitely what I like best. I think you can create the most powerful things when you put minds together.
Yeah.
That's your cheesy quote for the day, but it's from what I've seen just in school and stuff, there are people who will just make all like just the little critique comments that I'm like, I never would have thought of that. That's genius. And you have to talk to be able to do that.
Yeah. And that's where I give Pixar a lot of credit in how they built their campus when, Steve Jobs put it together. He put it together so that there was a communal space where everybody, developers, animators, programmers, everybody would connect and kind of feed off of each other. I think that's what makes a really cheesy. Joshua says cheesy but true.
But true. Thank you.
I love Joshua.
Josh is great.
Such a funny guy. And I'm gonna try this. I haven't tried this before, so if it does matter, I'm gonna try and share my other screen because I do have up the animation. So I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see if it works here. Let me see. Secondary display. As you can see, I am trying to get my secondary, and I'm not gonna futz with it too much to get it. Hopefully, people can see it. And preview mode. And I'm not gonna try and futz with it, but yeah. If I'd have thought about if I'd have known that I was gonna reference it, I would have made the video or would have recorded the video and brought it into the scene there. I'm gonna have to work on it.
The beauty of live shows.
Yeah, the beauty of live shows. I mean, it's really easy. Make sure to clear the history down. Like I said, I know because I'm using Ecamm to live stream it, and I know I can put in, like I said, share another screen and another monitor, which is what I'm trying to do in the preview mode, but it's not letting me do that for some reason, and I'm not sure what other people see. I wonder if I bring in a camera, will it allow me to do that? And I don't think it will. Nope, it's not. So I'm not gonna fuss with it. But I will put the link in the trust me, next time I will have worked out that kink, so whenever I want to share my screen, it'll go a lot smoother. One of the big things I've learned about live streaming, you just gotta roll with it, of course. But I will put the link in the show notes, and again, I do, like I said, kind of highly, because I know like I said, you're a pencil and paper kind of person. You'd appreciate it a lot more for sure.
But I'm excited to watch it, honestly.
Yeah,
So I haven't seen anything like that in a while.
yeah, for sure. Um, what would you, like I said, what kind of advice would you give to, say, a young girl thinking about getting into this space? If you were to, you know, inspire inspire the younger generation.
Ooh, I would, I would say just don't be shy. Like, don't let yourself hold you back. Because I'm someone who is constantly trying to push back that,
Mm-hmm.
or push past that. And I think I'm definitely better at it given the opportunity of just being like, hi, weird. But I think there's a lot of, especially girls who I've seen, who will be quieter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not just in art school. That's even growing up all through high school and everything like that. It's always typically the louder ones in the class are males, and hilarious things to say. I have a great time listening, but I think that that's something that is really valuable in the industry for whoever you are. Honestly, of just voicing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't be quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So yeah.
like you said, I think there's really starting to be a big shift in women in more of the executive roles, which is why we're starting to see, like
Definitely.
I said, a lot of different kind of animations and movies out there, whether it be from director to producer to, just like I said, the executive green lighting the project. I think we're starting to see a lot more women.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Just I've been going through school and graduating, I've been paying a lot more attention to credits because you start to recognize more names. It's super exciting, the usual. But you definitely do see more of a shift, even in the big name like character designers and stuff. You see them kind of
Yeah.
notching up there,
Yeah.
And so I think make your work be seen. Don't feel shy about it. That's the thing that I've also noticed is that there's been a lot of stuff where I'm like, this is garbage. No, but someone will see something else in it that I wouldn't see really, but they'll be like, no, this is great because of this. And I'm like, I don't see it, but if you feel it, that's awesome. So you never know what's going to identify with someone. So I mean, that's where even more of that idea of don't be shy comes, because chances are someone's going to feel or see exactly what you are too, or someone's going to pick more from it that you never would have thought of. And greatness comes out of both aspects of it. So why hold back,
Yeah. Now, which kind of lends back to what I was saying, it is such a great time for content creators because they have no excuse to share their work out there in so many different platforms. People are, like you said, you never know who's going to, in this age that we live in, that we're connected worldwide, you never know who sees your work when you step out of that box to put your work out there.
Yeah, and that's I guess wild moment here, but like was this in 6th grade? I heard this song on the radio, and it was Your Song, a remake by Ellie Goulding.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 6 o'clock in the morning, getting ready for school. I was a teenager, not awake whatsoever. But I started having this idea of, I just got a lot of imagery in my head listening to the lyrics, and I started to just make these little cards, and there were lyric videos, and all you can see are my hands just flipping the cards. And I just turned each lyric into these little images. And I did it for myself, really. I didn't expect anyone to see it. I put it on YouTube, though, and suddenly I saw someone being like, hello from Indonesia, and just random stuff like that, where I was like, what? People are watching? And I ended up making, I think, like four or five more. I can't really remember.
Yeah.
YouTube restrictions have gotten me, so it doesn't really work anymore. But yeah, it's just, you never know who's watching or what's going to strike with anyone, where
yeah.
even one of my videos, the first one I ever did, it was just in a huge rush because I wanted to get the idea out. So I made the worst spelling error ever that would make me crazy personally, and I still did it. But besides that, I still had people being like, I am using this to teach my English class. And I'm like, what? Like, it's really wild. Of just in some country in like Finland or something. I can't remember where, but it's just those are comments that I've seen that you would never expect it. And so if I hadn't posted that, who would have known?
Yeah,
But
yeah. I'm telling you, you just never know. And I always like to use because it's such a wild example, But he's doing such big work now. He's a visual effects artist, really big in After Effects. Andrew Kramer, but he was doing YouTube tutorials on After Effects,
we
showing what he
need
was
those.
doing, how After Effects. But the funny thing is, J.J. Abrams saw his work, and so now he works for Bad Robot is his
That's
studio.
so
Yeah,
cool.
and does
Exactly.
all the Star Trek does all his trailers for all of
Hmm.
his movies and films. But JJ just was going across the internet, looking at stuff, saw his work, really loved his stuff, and said, "Hey, would you like to come work on a trailer for a TV series I'm working on?"
Yeah,
And
you never know.
you
That's like
just never know
the
who
guy who
comes
redid the
across.
deep fake in Mandalorian
Yeah.
is now employed because they were like, "Oh, you can do this better. Would you like a job?" That's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh man, which is why, like I said, it's such a great time. If you're a filmmaker, if you're an animator, if you're a photographer, whatever it is that you like, there's a channel out there for you to put your work out there, and
Hmm.
people see it. And like I said, in this world, the internet has made the world such a small place, that you just never know who sees your work.
Yeah, it's wild. I can't even comprehend it really of just how many people you can reach, and that's the thing of I think it's really easy for people also to hold themselves back in the sense of like, oh, there's already 1,000 people doing tutorials, whatever, I'm not going to do it. But there might be something that you're explaining differently in the way you end up editing it that is going to identify more with someone else and it
Yeah,
starts to pick up its own traction.
yeah,
So you never know. There's always something else that is going to work better for someone to hear you doing.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And you do it in, like you said, a different way. I mean,
mhm.
yeah, there are 1,001 Photoshop tutorials, there are 1,001 After Effects tutorial, but how you do it is different than all the other ones. So
Yeah, you never know. So you might as well. You have nothing to lose.
nothing to lose for sure. Again, we're gonna go through some of her work. Like I said, Elisa does such great drawings. She just they have such an emotion. I think that,
I
and I
appreciate
think
that.
that's
Thank
the hard thing to really capture is the emotion of a character.
you. Mm.
So,
It's something. There's just
do you
sorry.
normally do like just different when you're doing characters, like
Mhm.
different turns and things like that? Is that a natural thing for you to do like different expressions and that type of thing?
I think from childhood, I was always just drawing one-offs. Like, I would make the whole profile. Like, I would write out like what's their favorite color. They really like mac and cheese. I would write all of that. But I would never end up drawing all of that. So it's definitely been a little more of a thing that I actually have to push a little more because while I have it in my head, I never really executed it quite as much. Um, where I'm trying to think of exactly what emotion I want to show, but for me, what's more powerful in showing character emotions, it's not directly happy. It's kind of the emotion that can be a little bit in between it. It's very abstract to describe, for me at least. But there's little nuanced things that make it pushed besides just a smiley face.
Yeah.
If that makes more sense, I think
No.
that's kind of what I'm
No.
trying to say.
Yeah.
So it's just keying into what that is for people, and it is different for everyone else. But depending on your character, there's what their personality is. There's so many different themes, really, of like this character's more into raising their eyebrows, and this one's more into just being like flat and monotone, you know.
Yeah.
So
Are you? Is it for you? Is it quick to kind of like get into a character's head, or has there been a character design that was kind of a challenge and took you a minute to kind of find that thing?
very much so. My Lewis character, that's Lewis right there, actually, and he had been in the making for, I want to say, like 3 years now. He's gone through a painful number of different designs where one day I was like, okay, this looks good, and the next day I'm like, this still isn't right. So this is the final one. I am content. We're good. But I mean, yeah, Lewis has been through a lot. We've been through a lot together. And even Hanta, the other one
Hmm.
that you were showing,
Yeah.
she got a full redesign recently. Where I had her posted, but I was like, I'm just not content with this. And I couldn't really figure out why. And then, one day I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna redo the whole thing. I don't even care. I just did it, and I was like, this is what needs to happen sometimes. So I mean, it definitely does happen where there are characters that just you do it once, looks good, and then there's ones where I think most of the time you need to do it at least twice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sometimes it takes a minute to slide into that kind of character, true
yeah,
character
well,
development.
you learn more about them as you're designing them, and then you have to digest those things that you learned about them.
Yeah.
So I think it's once that digestion hits like 6 months later and you're like, this is all wrong,
Yeah.
that's when you really have your character. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. And I think like what you said, kind of filling in that backstory definitely helps you to develop the character when you know all the little back details about the character.
yeah, and fact details, and you just come across more inspiration. I think there's a lot of power in finding inspiration when you're not looking for it. So to me, it's like there's so much value in looking at reference photos, all kinds of things while you're doing the art.
Hmm.
But I think it comes with limitations, and I think that you can get miles further when you're not looking for it, and you come across a movie, a show, a person in the street. I don't care. It will hit way harder, and something will be way more natural as you start to do that second. What I'm just going to call the second design at this
Yeah.
point. So that's where I think there's a lot of value in time. It's not just in skill and talent. You are always taking in more.
Awesome, awesome. Like I said, this has been such a fun conversation,
Oh,
Elisa.
I'm glad.
I
This
cannot
has been a
thank
good
you
time.
enough. And I hope, like I said, everybody has definitely enjoyed this as much as I do. Like I said, I do try and respect, my viewers and my guest time. But, this was a fun conversation for sure. Uh, Let me jump back to this scene. I want to throw up a few more comments there. Mr. Joshua, always
Yes,
great
Josh.
advice.
Exactly.
Spontaneous creation. You gotta love it for sure. Gotta love it for sure. But everybody, like I said, has been such a fun show. Definitely looking forward to having you back on the show, Lisa, because I know, like I said, you're just getting the ball rolling on your career, and a lot of things are going to start cropping up and coming out from you for sure. And I definitely want to, you know, promote and be a part of whatever I can to help put your talent and your skill out there because you got such amazing talent for sure.
Thank
Um,
you, John. I appreciate that a lot. So
no,
many things.
no, for sure. Everybody, make sure that you connect with Elisa because you won't be sorry. For sure. Check out her website where you can see a lot more. I only put up a small fraction of her work for sure. GonsArtist.com portfolio. Connect with her on LinkedIn. You can find her on LinkedIn. That's where we connected for sure. Check out her Instagram page, Gon's Artist, Instagram.com. She also has an imprint shop where you can get some of her work for sure. Like I said, connect with her. Shoot her email, let her know, connect with her. But definitely so looking forward to having you back on the show, Elissa, for sure. And like I said, just I can't thank you enough for connecting with me. One, on LinkedIn, and then two, agreeing to be on the show.
Oh, I'm already looking forward to it. So let's go.
Oh man, like I said, it's guests like you that make it such an easy interview for me and such a fun interview for me that I can't thank you enough again, and just so looking forward to having you back on the show. Mr. Joshua, I appreciate you, bro, checking in.
That's so sweet.
She is, I have to agree with you, inspirational and such a talented artist. I cannot disagree with you there, Joshua, my man.
I'm so tickled right now. Thank you, guys.
We're going to throw another one on here. Quick.
Elissa, you're here too. Hey. Thank you.
I'm glad you pronounce it, because I was sitting here trying to figure out how to pronounce it. Sorry.
No, Elissa and I've gone on many class endeavors together too. So.
All right, such an inspiration. Definitely appreciate you tuning in for sure. Elissa, if you could, if you don't mind hanging out in the green room for a few minutes while I close out the show.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But again, like I said, just so looking forward to having you back on the show. For sure, and just can't thank you enough for being part of the show.
Oh, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I've never done anything like this, so thank you for coaxing me into it, because I was all hesitant at first of like, I don't know if I have anything to say.
No, definitely you have a lot to say, and like I said, I can only imagine when I have you back, you'll have that much more to say, because like I said, I only expect great things coming from you for sure.
Hey, looking forward to it. So thank you for being so easy to talk to, and anyone who listened, much appreciation. Come say hi on whichever form of social media you like. So yes. Thank you guys.
All of this stuff will be in the show notes. All the links and everything that we talked about will be in the show notes on the YouTube channel. So make sure that you subscribe, get connected in YouTube if you want to check out her links and some of the information that we talked about. Again, everybody, please help me thank my guest and friend for being on the show. We appreciate you so much. And hang out for a few seconds while I close out the show there. Everybody, again, another great episode. You guys have made it a great episode. My guest has made it a great episode. That's why I love doing this show. I have such fun. People ask me, there's a lot of work that goes into putting it together, especially when you're doing it yourself. You don't have a team around you to do it. But like I said, it's my viewers like you. It's my guests like Elissa that just make it all so worthwhile, and have made such great friendships throughout this whole process. I can't ask for any more than that. Again, I hope everybody has enjoyed the show. Again, I can't say enough. I know some people tune in LinkedIn, YouTube. Again, make sure you get connected into the Facebook group, because we have even more conversations, more great information is shared there. Facebook.com/groups/The Color of Motion. We're going to look to have a much more engaging thing. Again, the new website is going to be coming pretty soon, before the end of the year. Even more additional information. Like I said, we're going to be taking the show to audio podcasts as well. So just a lot of great new things, exciting new things going to be happening for the show. I was telling Elissa, already booked out into January of 2022, so it's going phenomenally well. Just as kind of a little shout out there, got something special planned for our 1 year anniversary there, so looking forward to that as well. So I definitely want you to be plugged in. Also, make sure that you tune in next week because it's going to be even better show. I'm telling you, I'm so looking forward to having my man, Mr. Justin Brown, come on to the scene. Motion graphics designer with the Brown Crayon. Does some amazing work as well. So looking forward to sitting down and chopping it up with him. So I can't thank him enough for showing up. Again, thank you all for tuning in to another great episode. I can't help but be just blessed that you spend a little time on your Saturday afternoon for tuning in. You know, this little show here that I started. So I want to thank you everybody for that. So with that, I'm gonna close it out there. I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you tune in next week. Like I said, it's going to be a great show. So I will see you same bat time, same bat channel. Cheers.